candidates in the order, starting with Mr. Rob Ford, to give us 2 minutes of their position, and then we'll move to the debate. Mr. Ford?
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I believe this election is very straightforward. On October 27th, you're going to have a choice to make. You're going to have a choice to make of someone who has experience and a proven track record down at City Hall. Someone that said they were going to do it and did exactly what he said he was going to do. Folks, you know I said I was going to get a union deal. I got a union deal. You know I said I was going to get rid of that $60 car tax. I got rid of the $60 car tax. I inherited $775 million that we had to find efficiencies for. I did that. I kept property taxes at 1.5% lower than any city of our size in North America. I said I was going to contract out garbage, and we weren't going to have any more garbage strikes, and we weren't going to have any more transit strikes. We weren't going to have any more strikes, period. And I did exactly that.
Library strike.
So, folks, ladies and gentlemen, it is straightforward. If you want someone with a proven track record that has saved over $1 billion, I'm the person that you want. If you want someone else that you know your taxes are going to go up, that are going to implement a gas tax, every tax you can think of, but they call it revenue tools. You want an LRT on Shepherd, you want an LRT on Finch, I can guarantee the other three people will do that, meaning Chow, and Tory. You want subways? You want subways? I have a proven track record in building subways. So, folks, I welcome the other two candidates here. We have yet to debate, and I look forward to them participating in the debate. And I wasn't aware of their position, but thank you very much. All the best.
I'm short, so I'm going to stand up. Hey folks, it's time for a change in direction. It's time for the city to have a mayor that understands what life is like. What it's like to have a hard time finding a job. What it's like to taking care of the kids and taking care of the parents at the same time. It's tough. That shapes my value. That's why I got into politics, so that we can create a city, a service that care for each other. That's what government is about. That is what we need. That's why we need to invest now. We need to invest in public transit so that the bus will come more often. And it wouldn't be all full that you can't get on. And then you're packed like sardines. And we also do need to put shovel in the ground on that Finch LRT lines so that you can save at least half an hour each day in transit. Let us invest now on public transit. And we need to invest in our children, after school programs, because it's so important. It's about our children. After school programs so they can grow up smart, strong, and stay out of trouble. And that's what we can do, and hire some young people so that they can be role models for our children. That is a good thing to do, and for that to happen, we need to invest now. We need to invest in public housing. We need to build more affordable housing, 15,000 units of affordable housing, because far too many people are waiting for affordable housing. And jobs especially for young people, so it gives them hope. Because right now there's a crisis. 1 out of 5 young people cannot find a job. Let us go and create some jobs for our young people so they can hope. They can have hope so they can start their families. We can do all this together. I have the experience. I've been a city councillor, been a member of parliament. When I was a city councillor, we started and expanded the children nutrition program so that the kids wouldn't have to be hungry when they're in school, because you can't learn when you're hungry. And also dental care, free dental care for kids that parents' income is less than $30,000. I started that, expanded that. Let us do more. There's so much more we can do together. Let us work together. Let us invest so that we can create a caring government, so that we can have a better future for all our children. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is David Socknacki. I want to be mayor to make the changes that we need to make this a great city, not to make excuses. I want to take my experience as a grandson of immigrants who came to this country without anything, as someone who has built a company and created jobs from nothing, and as somebody who has worked on council. I want to tell you in just a moment about my experience on council, because my time in council was in Scarborough, an area covered by Kingston Road and Orton Park and Galloway Road. And I want to tell you that that shows some of the greatest challenges we have in the city, and yet it shows some of the greatest ability to overcome those challenges. It's the area of Danzig, and yet it's the area of the Scarborough East Boys and Girls Club. It's the area where there is some abject poverty and some real challenges, and yet with our city government, with investment, with treating people with decency and fairness and giving them not that hand out but the hand up, that we can achieve so much together and to make us all proud of what we can be. I want to tell you a little bit about my program and some of the principles. Yes, I want to talk about transit. I want to talk about light rail transit. And the reason I want to say that is because not only is it $1 billion tax savings that we don't need to spend, but it goes to the communities that need that transit. It goes to Malvern. It'll go to the communities that so desperately need it, not only for jobs, but to go to churches, to go to their communities, and to go to school. I want to talk to you about some of the programs that we need to rein in order to make this a great city. And we don't want to deal with the small cities. We don't want to make the most vulnerable pay for it. We instead need to deal on those large budgets. We need to review the Toronto Police Services budget. We need to make fundamental changes that haven't been made in a generation, to policing. It's not only for savings, but it's also to make it more sensitive. It also needs to be more effective, and it needs to better reflect the hopes and aspirations of our public. I look forward to the rest of the debate, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. I want to say thank you for having us all here tonight, and I want to say thank you for all of you turning out. I think it's a great demonstration of interest in the issues in the election. And, you know, I want to talk about transit tonight, and we will. I think it's time for us to do something bold. We should have been building one subway station a year for the last 25 years, and we haven't. And I think now it's time to do something bold to make sure we can make a big difference as quickly as we possibly can. I want to talk about jobs, because it's about attracting new jobs, and in fact attracting jobs that will make for careers for people, not short-term jobs for people. We need to have careers. I want to talk about taxes, because yes, indeed, we do have to make sure we keep the tax burden down on people. And I want to talk with you about making sure that the new leader of the city can work with the city council, which, as you know, is essential to our well-being and to getting things done, and working with the other governments the same way. And I think people are going to have to ask themselves a fundamental question. Do they want 4 more years of the same kind of division they've seen, the same kind of chaos at the City Hall, the same kind of inability to work with the City Council and increasingly with the other governments? Or do they want to see change where it can be about getting things done? And I want to mention something else that hasn't really been mentioned directly tonight, but I think it should be. I don't think it's an overstatement to say that the violence we've seen, the tragic violence that affects young black men disproportionately to other parts of the population, and other related issues, including the high school dropout rate among the very same group that I just mentioned, I think it's reached a crisis point. And I don't use that term loosely. I think we end up hardly discussing this in our city And I think it's time we started seeing it for what it is, which is a crisis. And we need leadership from the mayor. I think it's been sorely lacking, as people instead seem to race to claim credit for solving problems which in fact grow worse over time. I have a track record as a private citizen. I have a track record as a private citizen of acting on these issues, stepping up and acting, and I think now it's time to step up the pace. The programs that are going to help in this regard are not a waste of money. They are the best investment we ever make. And so I do believe we need a mayor who can work with the City Council, who can work with all levels of government, both Premier Wynne and Prime Minister Harper, to address all of these issues in a serious and substantive and timely way, and in a partnership with every single segment of our population. And that's exactly what I'll do. Thank you.
I just like to hear it sounding good.
Okay, our next candidate, Dewitt Lee.
Thank you so much. You know, Mr. Tory, you actually generated an applause for me. Those are all very touching issues that I deal with on the front line every day when I'm out doing my everyday normal guy things. Reaching out to the youth, standing on behalf of them in circles and forums like this, and hearing their cries. And these are the things that have angered me, that have stirred me up, to have launched me into this space so I can share a message to all my people. And that is to rise up and build. That is to rise up and build first ourselves, then our families. Once our families are secure and our pillars in their community, then we can turn around and have a direct impact to our communities. Today we are going to address some issues, but they're not going to cover it all. My role as a mayoral candidate is to ensure that after the election is over, and after the flyers disappear, and after the passionate speeches that inspire you. I noticed a lot of Janice Vincent here, huh? A lot of applause when we talked about that finish line. When all of the smoke clears, my job, with your help, with your vote, is to ensure that promises are kept, to ensure that transparency is key, and that services reach every citizen. And we are building an organization, the most powerful citizen-based organization Toronto or Canada has ever seen. It's called the Toronto Community Advisory Board. And we are assigning and organizing young people to elders who are going to facilitate different roles to their strengths and make sure that whoever is elected councillor is going to have to work for every cent of their pay. Whoever is voted mayor is going to have to earn every cent of their pay, because we are going to ensure that the citizens get the representation that they ultimately deserve. Now, I would be remiss to be here in this moment not to give thanks to the organizers for putting together this powerful collection of thinkers, doers, dreamers, and move makers, and dancers, and youth. It is inspiring, and I am so grateful to sit here in front of you and to represent you, to do so with integrity and honor, to stand for the underserved and the least provided for. But I must say that we do have a little healing that we have to do with our current mayor.
And now our time is up.
And I do appreciate that. And I do hope we do get an opportunity to hear from him an apology for his use of the N-word, so that we can in fact move on and heal from here. Thank you.